He's verified.
First of all, welcome to computer class, and today we're going to be talking about Windows operating system. With a twist, we're going to be running Windows from Mac OS. We're going to show you how to set up boot camp, how to partition, and how to get a whole setup of Windows on your MacBook Pro. So here we're using the MacBook Pro 2018 15-inch. So from the MacBook Pro, what you're going to do is start off, you're going to go into Boot Camp Assistant. Now we're using Mojave, macOS Mojave. Once we run Boot Camp Assistant, it's going to give us some options. So first, before we go any further, let's go into our disk utility to make sure that we have a partition ready for Windows. Now, of course, we already have Windows installed on this Mac. So I'm going to show you the partition that we have ready. We actually used a 64 gigabyte partition to install Windows. The Windows installation is about 20 gigabytes. So at minimum size recommendation for Windows installation, I would say 64 gigabytes. If you're planning on doing any gaming or anything else like that, I would definitely recommend having a secondary hard drive or a solid state drive to plug in via USB-C or USB-A. So moving forward, this is the introduction. Basically, Boot Camp Assistant will help you install Microsoft Windows on an Intel-based Mac. It'll download all the support, the drivers, and everything, and it will set up your partitions for you so that you can actually get Windows running on your Mac. So now we're going to click Continue. As you can see, we've got our restore disk on a single volume. So we already have our Windows partition set up. So what the application would normally do, it would partition our container to where the boot camp partition will be here, and you'll be able to actually install Windows directly from here using the Windows ISO. So I'm going to show you guys what the Windows ISO looks like. And this can be downloaded directly from Microsoft. So when we go on Microsoft's website, we're going to search for download Windows 10. However, it's going to take us directly to download Windows 10 ISO. The Windows 10 ISO is about 4 gigabytes. Once it's downloaded, normally it would have to be burned to a single layer DVD and then actually imported and installed, but now they're using the ISO format to where you can actually do it directly from the system. Okay, so when you're on Microsoft.com, you can click on Windows. So the latest version of Windows is actually Windows 11. So let's check out Windows 11. But what we really want to do is get Windows 10 because we know that that's supported. So you need at least 1 gigahertz processor, at least 32 gigs, a 32-bit 2 gigabyte or 64-bit, at least 32 gigabytes of hard drive space. That's why I recommended the 64. And also you're going to need a compatible graphics driver and at least 800 by 600 resolution. So of course we've got all that. So moving forward, we're going to click on Get Windows 10. So normally you would have to buy this. It's $199.99. But if you just want to get the ISO for downloading, if you already have a installation key. So once the ISO finishes installing or downloading, you're going to place it into the Boot Camp Assistant. Once that's done, now we're going to show you how, after the Windows installation is completed, how we're going to be able to get into it. All right, so the first step to get to your Windows partition that you created on this Mac We're going to go ahead and restart the computer. There's two ways we can do it. We can go to settings, and then we can go to target disk mode. So we're going to go over to startup disk. And from here, once I click the lock and type in my password or use my fingerprint, I can select boot camp. And then I can click restart. But I'm going to show you how to do it without having to do that. So I'm going to restart the entire computer. Make sure I had to cut this part out of there because it said I had something that was open that I didn't save. Oh, and today we download Windows as robust as. Okay. Cancel. Delete. Delete. Okay, so now we're going to restart the computer after we saved all our items. While it's restarting, what you're going to need to do is as soon as the computer comes back on, you're going to have to hit the option key. Okay, so the computer's off now. We're holding down the option key. When the Apple logo comes up, now we have two options. We can either go to the Mac side or Windows. So we're going to go to Windows. So now you can see we're booting into Windows from Mac. This is the partition that we just installed and created from Windows 10 on Boot Camp Assistant. So once you're in the Windows, normally you'll have to create a user and set up everything, but we already have one set up. All right, and now that you're inside of Windows, everything that you would normally have access to should be there. Your wireless networks, your battery, Microsoft OneDrive, Windows security. So let's go over and look at our hardware. So now we can see all of our drives and all of our audio stuff is ported over. Bluetooth will be, you have Bluetooth functionality. And also your network adapter. So pretty much everything that you had on the Mac side is now accessible on the Windows side, except for the drive. Now there is a program you can download called Mac Drive, in which it'll allow you to access HFS formatted volumes within Windows. So let's check out some of the features that we have from Windows. As you can see, we're on our start menu. From our start menu, you can access pretty much anything that's installed on the computer. So let's check out this disk that we created, the 64 gigs. So here's our local boot camp volume. This is the same volume that you can see in the Macintosh OS version. It is 60 gigabytes as we specified. There is 15 gigs of free space. As you can see, it is an Apple solid state drive, AP0256. That means it's a 256 gigabytes of solid state storage. Within this Windows installation is the file system. As we can see here, the Windows directory is normally read-only. There's a user directory, program files, and so on. The downloads folder is where all the downloads go. Documents is where your documents, and then of course pictures for your pictures. If you have music, they'll be in this folder, and videos as well. So we're going to go over how to change the background in Windows. If you right click on your desktop, you can go to personalize. From here, once you activate your PC, you'll be able to change these desktop backgrounds. So let's go over how to do a screensaver change. So in addition to changing the background, you can change the colors. You can go from dark to light. You can choose your default settings and colors. In your lock screen, you can also customize as well with any picture that you would like. And there are also different themes. Got Windows 10 theme, Windows Light, flowers, all different types of themes. Now your fonts, you can have different fonts in Windows as well. And that concludes that portion of that. In addition to that, display settings. Let's check out display settings. From display settings, you can customize the font size, the display resolution, the display orientation, or you can use multiple devices. Let's check out our advanced display settings. So as you can see, we're using a Radeon Pro 555X. It's an 8-bit RGB video card. It actually has 8 gigs, actually 4 gigs of video RAM. And it has it changeable in refresh rate, but right now it's at 60 hertz. 60 hertz is equivalent to 60 frames per second. So now we can check out our sound. So now we got our Apple speakers, as you can hear. And it's also using our internal digital microphone, so we can do it. Testing, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, it's picking that up. There's notifications that we can set up. Focus assist. This will disable notifications and allow you to focus on whatever project you're working on without being distracted by notifications or emails or calls. Power and sleep. So right now we're on battery power. If the computer is left dormant for 10 minutes, it will go into sleep mode or turn off. If it is plugged up, it's 15 minutes. So we're going to set up our sleep time to be 25 minutes. And then we're going to also set it to be an hour when plugged up. Here we can check out our battery. Our battery is currently at 36%. And then it shows us what apps are using the most percentage of the battery. Right now it's settings because that's what I'm showing you guys. Now if you take a look at our storage, we're using 14 gigs for apps and features and 2.4 for temporary files. So let's free up a little bit of space. So we're going to go over here to downloads. We've got a couple of files in here. We're going to go ahead and highlight these and delete them. Okay, so now that we've deleted those files, we're going to go over to our recycle bin to delete them. Once we right click on our recycle bin and click empty, we're going to delete those 3 items. So now we're going to check out our Windows Store. This is where all the apps will be at, similar to the Apple Store. So from here we can search, we can download, we can get games, we can get apps like iTunes, Netflix, anything that you normally would use. And apps are basically applications. They're just programs that you can get. One common program is Microsoft 365, which also comes with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. We talked about that in our other class. Once you get that downloaded, kind of looks like this. I'm going to cut that part because it didn't work. Okay. So once you find an app that you want to download, let's say you want to get Netflix, click on it. It'll allow you to download it from here. You click get. It may ask me to sign in to my account. And now it's downloading Netflix. There's games you can get from the office, from the App Store as well, if you're a gamer. And movies and TV. You can buy movies, buy shows. There's other TV and movie apps like Disney Plus, Netflix, Prime Video, Hulu, Paramount Plus. And that pretty much concludes the App Store. Now, the library is the apps that you do have. As you can see, there's updates for a lot of these. And one thing you have to also remember, your Microsoft ID can be linked to your Xbox Live. So any game that I bought on Xbox will show up on Microsoft Store. So that's why you're seeing Halo and Call of Duty and all of these different games that are coming up on here. So that concludes the Microsoft Store. And now we're going to just show you how to download Google. So we're going to click on Microsoft Edge. We're going to go to google.com. From here, we're going to select the tab with the dots, and then we're going to click on Google Chrome. And we're going to download it. And now we're going to open the file. It's going to ask you to accept the application. All right, now Google Chrome is installed. So now let's go and check our Windows version. We're going to go to the downloads, and then we're going to go to this PC and right click and go to properties. Here we can see we have 16 gigs of RAM. We have an Intel i7 processor, and we also have Windows 10 Professional installed on here with the Windows Feature Experience Pack version 120. So that pretty much concludes the whole process of putting Windows on a Mac. And once you have this on there, it functions just like a regular Windows computer. You can access anything you need from it. You can go into all of the different applications, anything you download, anything you buy, anything you get off the internet, just as if you're running a Windows computer. In addition to that, you'll have access to the same resources in Windows as you did in Mac. And if you were to need the files from the other side, you would need to download Mac Drive. And that's it. Thank you guys for attending our Windows and Mac Intro to Windows Mac OS. Okay, so that concludes our Windows running on a Mac, our Microsoft Windows OS intro to the operating system. Today we went through different items, different objects. We showed you how to install Windows on a Mac, reboot into that Windows partition, and then access it. And we also confirmed that everything that's accessible on the Mac side is still accessible on the Windows side. I hope you guys have a great day and tune in next time.